Welcome to this explainer. Imagine two completely different people for a second. The first one is under intense family pressure, totally snaps, grabs a crowbar, and commits a crime they literally never planned. Then you've got the second person. They carry a briefcase, they're executing a highly calculated corporate heist, and they've built a very lucrative career entirely around breaking the law. Now, technically speaking, both of these people are criminals, but if we try to treat them the exact same way analytically or hit them with the same type of punishment, we are completely missing the point. The how and the why matter just as much as the what. And today, we're going to break down exactly why that is.
So, here is our agenda for today. 1. The commitment spectrum. 2. Habitual and professional criminals. 3. White-collar crime. 4. Organized enterprise. 5. The corporate crime distinction. And 6. Mapping the typology.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the commitment spectrum. First up, we have the occasional criminal. Basically, this is an offender whose crime grows out of a very specific high-pressure situation or circumstance, rather than some deeply rooted criminal identity. Think about a sudden crime of passion during a really intense family dispute in Pakistan. You have someone with absolutely zero prior record, and they just snap under intense personal provocation. If you take away that specific triggering situation, this exact same person would very likely go on living a totally law-abiding life. It's a complete aberration. So this profile really boils down to 3 core traits: low planning, low skill, and low recurrence. This isn't somebody trying to build a criminal career or rack up a rap sheet. In fact, this individual's entire criminal history could literally begin and end with just that single unplanned act. Moving right along to Section 2, habitual and professional criminals. Get this number. Criminologists estimate that historically 40 to 50% of prison populations are made up of habitual criminals. Almost half. This is absolutely not some small marginal group we're talking about. It's a massive chunk of the offending population in most justice systems, including right here in Pakistan. And honestly, it really highlights just how often society's formal and informal preventative mechanisms completely fail. So what exactly makes someone a habitual criminal? Well, unlike that occasional offender we just talked about, this person has acquired the habit of committing crime. They reoffend repeatedly, often right after they get released. But their offenses stay pretty low skill. We're talking petty theft, small-scale fraud, minor drug offenses. It's like they passively drift back into crime, which is heavily linked to persistent poverty, really tough social environments, and a sheer lack of education. They reoffend all the time, but they completely lack any sort of sophisticated organization. And this right here brings us to a massive leap in our taxonomy. See, a habitual criminal relies on passive drift. They just sort of stumble into low-skill petty crimes, kind of like someone taking the path of least resistance. But a professional criminal, they actively build specialized technique. For them, crime is a full-time occupation. They treat it like a career, complete with its own internal culture, unique expertise, and a reputation they have to maintain. If we look at this in the Pakistani context, professional crime looks like highly organized vehicle theft rings or really sophisticated financial fraud networks. Whether they are rapidly stealing a car right off a busy street or hacking into a database from a laptop, they are definitely not winging it. These aren't crimes of opportunity. Pulling them off repeatedly requires genuine, deep technical knowledge of vehicle security or banking systems. It's literally treated like a job that needs to be executed flawlessly. Okay, jumping into Section 3, white-collar crime. So the scholar Edwin Sutherland foundationally defined this as crime committed by a person of respectability and high social status in the course of their occupation. Sutherland actually coined this term on purpose because, at the time, criminology was basically only focusing on low-status, street-level offenders. They were completely ignoring the massive, widespread harm being caused every day by people sitting in comfortable positions of trust and authority. And the syllabus gives us plenty of real-world examples right here in Pakistan. We're talking about high-profile bank fraud, we're talking massive tax evasion scandals by prominent business people, and, of course, the major corruption cases pursued by the National Accountability Bureau, or NAB. What's crazy is that these offenses are committed using position and access, not physical force. And yet, even though they cause massive monetary harm to society, historically, these high-status crimes receive way lighter punishments and cause way less social panic than your average street crime. Now for Section 4, organized criminal enterprises. The absolute defining trait here is structure. This isn't just a loose group of friends seizing a random opportunity. This is a fully functioning enterprise. Organized crime has a clear hierarchy, strict division of labor, and real long-term business logic. Honestly, it operates with the exact same discipline as a legitimate company, except it's built entirely around dominating illegal markets, things like drugs, weapons, human trafficking, or extortion. Classic examples in Pakistan range from the local level all the way to global networks. You've got the notorious urban land mafias, right? They illegally occupy and sell property in major cities using a totally coordinated network of forged documents and local muscle. Then, on a much broader scale, you have massive cross-border drug trafficking networks. Those require insane coordination across multiple distinct roles. You've got production, transport, distribution, and international money laundering. It's a massive machine. That brings us to Section 5, the corporate crime distinction. Now pay attention here, because the target of responsibility completely shifts. White-collar crime involves an individual acting for their own personal gain, like a rogue employee skimming a little off the top using their job title. Corporate crime, though, that is committed by a company. It's an entire institution acting in pursuit of corporate interests. This points the finger directly at an organization's structure and its management decisions as the actual source of the harm, not just one bad apple. A truly heartbreaking yet highly analyzed instance of this in Pakistan is the 2012 Baldia Town factory fire in Karachi. The devastating and totally preventable deaths of those workers didn't just happen by accident. The harm traces directly back to systemic corporate decisions. They intentionally bypassed safety compliance standards and ignored glaring hazard warnings, all just to cut costs. It is a textbook, albeit deeply tragic example of corporate crime. Finally, let's wrap things up with Section 6, mapping the criminal topology. Let's put all the pieces together. If we map these 6 types across 2 main axes, planning and social position, a really fascinating pattern emerges. Your occasional and habitual offenders, they sit right at low planning and ordinary status. Professionals ramp up that planning, for sure, but they keep the ordinary status. But look at the bottom right. White-collar and corporate crimes achieve this crazy high level of planning and systemic structure, all from a position of unusually high social power and respectability. It perfectly shows how the justice system so often treats powerful offenders totally differently from street-level ones. So, as we conclude this explainer, I want to leave you with something to really think about. Looking back at these 6 distinct categories we just mapped out, which one do you believe the Pakistani justice system struggles with or handles the absolute worst? I'm super curious to hear what you think, so let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thank you so much for exploring this with me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.